Hey students, okay, so this is clipper cutting phase 3. The first phase we diagrammed, we went through and reviewed every single part of the head again. And basically all we did was cut with the clipper, and I introduced the different clippers to you, all of that, and then basically what we did was we went in, held the comb out like this, held it out in this form, and then brought it closer. That was phase 1. And then showed you how to do that. When we came back in on phase 2, you got to see, on phase 1 you saw the line from the parietal line to the tip of the ear and then straight down again, following that nape line to create a corner at the center nape, lower occipital, and then we remove the corner. If you'll take notice at this point, nothing has gone beyond the parietal line. Everything has stayed below it. And that's what you're going to do when you're doing clipper cutting. You're basically going to cut the bottom first. Very seldom are you going to go up to the top, not until you're almost finished with the cut. So what I want you to notice at this point is, and now on the other side, this hair's been relaxed. You can't see it as much, but this side, I'm hoping you can. You can see that the hair rests shorter at the perimeter line along the flat part right by the temporal area and is a little bit longer into the parietal line. So what I'm going to do this time is we're going to now start fading even more. What we've done with this cut right now is just basically a gentleman's haircut. The top would be treated the same whether we took it real tight or real loose like we're doing right now. So what I'm going to do right now is now I'm going to go even tighter. On the phase 2, what we did was we did it with the clipper. We came in and then we did some scissor over comb, cutting it using the guide just slightly right at the brow. And it came just slightly above the tip of the ear, but pretty much center occipital all the way around to clean it up. On one side we use the clipper, on the other side we use the shear. So you can see that a hard line creates a harder movement. A soft line creates a softer movement, which would be what would happen with the shear. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to get my other comb. I don't need that clipper comb at this point. I'm going to brace and I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going real close into the hair. Whereas before we've been kind of carving away. So I'm going to go real close up to the carve line and then I'm going to take it out. What we've done before is we've taken it and just basically started coming out as we did it. Just immediately started carving. This time I'm going to take it up and then carve out. So this is a long carve. We're going to do a short carve. Alright, that's the only way I can know how to describe it. For you to know to carve it out more or carve it out. Alright? So let's do that. I'm going to brace, again following the same line, going up to that line and carving right out. To that line, carving right out. So this is pretty much what a fade haircut is like. So I'm going to start at the nape, and I'm taking it up to the lower ridge. So we're fading up into that. So fading up into the lower ridge. The only area we found right here stayed the same. But if we take it around to the lower ridge, then we're starting pretty much a fade haircut. Now I have a 0 guard and I brought it all the way down, so this is just like a 1. This would be just like a 1. Now, I'm going to take this guard off for just a minute before I do the other side, and I'm going to do it again to show you. Now this time I'm going to pull the blade up, so I'll push this down so that the blade comes up. I'm going to do it again, and you're going to find that it's going to be about the same cut. So you see what I'm saying? When I pull that blade up, Clean that up around there. Very little difference in the cut. But as I get to my line, the lower ridge, and the area here, parietal line to tip of the ear, and then we travel around the lower ridge. Now on the other side, what I'm going to do, trying to hold this still, I will stay within the nape line. I want you to see the difference in the two and what we do with it, how you fade it in. Bring that down to a 0. Push this back so that push it up so it hooks in. Not back, up. Okay, let me make sure it's in there just right, or it's not gonna. Let me get rid of my comb for a minute. Okay, these push up. This takes a little while. There you go, come on. Alright, I want to fit that in there just right, put it right at the center. There, now it's even all the way across. Alright, so I'm going to get this comb, and this time we are just going to fade up to the nape. And see, it all depends on how that hair's growing. Sometimes you have to turn the clipper. That's why I'm glad that this was curled before. So what they did was they straightened it and then they put a curl in it. I almost have to take my guard out to really clean behind the ear right there. But notice that I'm holding the clipper. Oops, stay there, Betty. Here's a mannequin. I'm holding. Let me do this. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm holding the clipper. There's the mannequin right there. I'm holding the clipper at that angle. Instead of this, I'm holding it at that angle, so only half the blade is cutting that. So half the blade, as you can see, is off. And I'm going to follow that nape line. And you'll start seeing a little bit more again of a tapered haircut. And you see this in older gentlemen. This is what they do. They take it to the nape line. Clean that up, and then you're going to take your comb and only follow this line. You're going to take it, follow the line, bring the comb down at that angle, not this angle, that angle right there. In other words, 45-degree angle. So it gets rid of that little bit of heaviness right there. And do you see the blend coming in? That's what a taper, oops, come on Betty, sit up. I name my mannequins. And notice that I'm staying only where I'm cutting. I'm not taking the blade down. If I take it down, I'm going to create a line underneath. The clipper has no brains. So I'm cleaning that up. And then again, that's still a nice tapered cut. So you see the difference between going in and out. For these guys that want to keep it shorter, you would go in and clean this up again. And for somebody that wants a fade, you take it all the way up in this form. So we've got this nice blend for a guy's haircut that wants it a little longer. You see a lot of gentlemen with that. Now you see how it's done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this up now. I'm going to bring this up and do what we did on the other side and follow it only to the tip of the ear. And like I said, I almost had to take that off. Yep. And then now we follow it up to the lower ridge. Now one thing that I want to show you as well, I hope you can hear me, in the midst of the clipper. And you see, if you know where the lower ridge is at, you don't have to keep going back and looking at it. You carve out. You take it up, carve out. Take it up, carve out. Take it up, carve out. And that's where you're cleaning it. Now, I have seen some barbers, and I don't know why they do this, because initially, and I'm going to do it on one side, it just takes longer. It's not wrong, but it takes forever to get that hard line out of there. They take their clipper to a 0, and I'm going to do it on this side so I can show you how much harder it is to get rid of that line. But I have literally seen them take it, and you'll see videos on it where they carve it out in this form. Create that hard line. Instead of the blend. All right, we've carved out right there, but this creates a really hard line, especially when you're working with it on the skin. And what you'll have is you'll see that line for a while. And I watch them, and they're there trying to get it out. They're moving the clipper one way and the other way, trying to get that line out of there once they've put it in. So my recommendation is, if you know you're going to take it that short and you're getting rid of all this, for goodness sake, get rid of it. I mean, you do want to crawl into it to make sure that that's what the guy wants. If he has shown you a picture that he wants almost skin up to the lower ridge, then take it up to the lower ridge and then carve out so that you can blend it in. There's no reason to create that hard line in there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to fade this up, and that's what we're talking about with the fade. I'm going to hold the comb perfectly straight. I'm going to bring it longer, so I move this down. It's always better to go longer because you can always take it off. You can't put it back. So I'm going to hold my comb straight up and down and take this up again. Now, you can see that you can see, even with this, you can still see that hard line right there. And as I travel around to the other side, I mean, it's just more work. Let me travel around to the other side so you can see what I'm talking about, that this fade is going to be cleaner because I carved out as opposed to coming in. Again, holding the comb flat. Because if you hold it flat, I want you to see how the head curves in right there. So if the head curves in, this is going to be a little bit longer at the parietal line, which is as high as we're taking it. Again, I'm going to turn it around for you to see that other side where I created that hard line. But do you see how nicely that fits in there? Fits, it's smooth, it's clean. And on this side, we've got that hard line that we've got to get rid of. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shake my clipper a bit. And now, what I need to do now, it becomes more work. I got to take my clipper in this direction. Now I'm keeping my clipper, I'm holding the clipper at that angle when I bring it, because this is actually slightly longer. So, let me show you. I'm holding the clipper. Can you see that all right, cameraman? Okay, where I'm holding it at a slight angle, trying to just work that line out of there that I created. And you can see that it is really, really hard to get out. Yet, look at how nice and smooth that is from just carving it out, putting the comb on there, and cleaning it up. I'm going to try putting the comb here again to see if we can't get that off. And see, even with the mannequin, it's harder to do. I'm going to bring it down to where it's shorter. Maybe that'll help. So if you're going to take it up that high, carve it out anyways. And you see that and you can still see it. It just doesn't lay that well. It's starting to lay nice, but look at how much work. And what is your time in this industry? Your time is money. So you want to make as much money by doing things in a timely manner so that you can still keep your customer happy, but yet create a good income for yourself. Now, because of COVID, we're doing all these classes on video. And see, that just lays so much nicer on that side, and I can still see it on this side. Okay, now what I'm going to do, she said, hey, I want skin under there. Take it to 0. I'm going to bring her down, and I'm still going to just take it up to, I might have to get my other clipper because this one is saying that I don't want to play anymore. And see the direction that the hair grows? You go against it. This one goes up, but then I gotta know when I'm at the lower ridge. And carve out at the lower ridge. Do your very best to carve out. And whenever they have curly hair, you're gonna do that. You're gonna have to do that. If hair is growing in this direction, you're gonna go against the growth. And see, I am taking it out of there. And get that corner out. And with the mannequin, you're always going to have just a little bit of a situation. It's not going to lay as perfect as it would on a person, but you can see that it's faded up in there. And now this side again, where we created that hard line, I'm going to try carving that out, but because we created that hard line, it's still there. Comb it, comb it, comb it, comb it, comb it. Try to get it out. Work it. Now you see when I get to that lower ridge, I pull out, pull it out, pull it out. That's what you need to practice. What I want you to do is, like again, take your clipper guards. I don't want you taking it this close right away. I want you to take your clipper guards, do it longer first, and then use a smaller clipper guard and practice this. Practice pulling away. Practice coming in at an angle with your clipper guards. Remember, learn the procedure first, and then you can do it almost just naturally. So you can see that this mannequin, now just the way the hair grows, again, it's really hard to get rid of that hard line when you see that beautiful fade right there from just pulling it up. So I want to show you another mannequin that I've got. Our phase 4 is going to be working on the top. There's a variety of things that we're going to do for the top, and what we're going to end up with at the top is a flat top. That's what you're going to end up with. But one thing I want to show you with this flat top, remember the entire time with this, the mannequin that we just put down has been discussing the lower ridge. One thing I want to show you is how to find the upper ridge. The upper ridge, your blade fits right on it above the parietal line. It fits there. It's perfect there. But before I do that, understand that the head is rounded. Now this has been laying around a bit and stuff, and it almost needs to be blow dried up. But you can see that a flat top is flat on top. The shortest point in a flat top is at the center apex. The longest point in a flat top is at the parietal line, that frontal, center frontal, but the parietal line, because you've got your, all of it traveled straight up. You've got that traveling straight up. And then we faded into the lower ridge. Now I'm going to show you something about the upper ridge and how do you do a mohawk. All right, so I'm going to take this. If I can get my clipper to keep working, my poor little ostrich clipper is saying, it's too much hard work for me. Okay, so I'm taking it to the upper ridge only. Now, I'm not going around it. I am creating a mohawk. The reason that you're told where the vertex is at is because the vertex is, if you're going to do a mohawk, that's where you're going to take it to. The reason you're told where the area behind the ear is because if you're going to do a mohawk, that's exactly where you're taking it to. Only the area behind the ear. The thing that you can decide with a mohawk is, do I want it to come to a point? Do I want to put a W there? Do I want my mohawk just to end at the, at the crown? And with ours right now, yeah, it's going to end at the crown. Now you can see that this hair right here is at the parietal line. So I'm going to blend it up. I'm just following that line, going up, and you can see that that is a mohawk on one side. Let me show you with the clipper. See the parietal line? It ends at the parietal line. So you're not going to go higher than that. If you go higher than that, now here's the determining factors. Do we want a mohawk that's skinnier? Okay, that's where it gets to be worked. That's where then you need your mirror. But like I told you, when I was in the salon, somebody wanted a mohawk, they immediately were just sent to my chair. Because otherwise they took forever doing it, trying to measure it, because they didn't learn where the different parts of the head was. So if you know where you're at on the head form, you know where you're going. Cameraman, how much time do we have?
6 minutes.
Okay, 6 minutes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other side to show you. Now, again, the mohawk. See the white of the eye? Right there. That's the upper ridge. That's all that is. So I'm going to do this side for you. I'm going to come up. See if my clipper doesn't die on me. There, that's as far as I'm going. The clipper's laying flat. I want to make sure the head is straight too, because that's another factor. Got a little corner right there. Flat, take it off. Okay, now we're at the vertex. So now I'm coming up to the vertex. Got one more right there to hit that upper ridge just a little bit. And I'm going to come forward with it to clean that up really good. Now, I'm at the vertex. So now I'm going to take it in. Right? And again, the area behind the ear, vertex, apex, all of that is my guide. You want to make sure that your mannequin is straight, or else I've got this loose a little bit so I can turn it, but otherwise it's a pretty good mohawk. I got a little bit more on this side. As you can see that this came in a little bit. Is that all on there? Okay. There you go. I'm not going around the head. I'm cleaning that up. There, it's pretty close for my mohawk. Stay within the upper ridge and work it. And I think I'm going to take my mohawk to a point, because we're right here at the center crown, and instead of messing with it, I'm just going to take it to a point right there. So if you know where you're at on the head form, you'll have that solid mohawk there. Now I'm going to pull this close for you to see. See, the hair's traveling out a little bit, but I'm going to pull that close for you to see where are we from the center. We got that there. Okay, let me see, let me make sure. This one, just a scotch. See that, that many teeth? Yeah, just a tiny bit right there that needs to come off, and then it'll be even on both sides. So you'd still work it a little bit, that's when you look in the mirror, but you've got a pretty decent mohawk right there. And I'm going to show you the top. So it goes right through there, and then it comes back to center at the back. And I need to clean this a little bit. Now when you're teaching, yeah, you know, I mean, if they're sitting behind my chair, but for me teaching and leaning over, that's pretty darn good. That's a reason, not an excuse. All right, so I could clean it up just a little bit more, but I'm not going to worry about it. You got your mohawk. Remember, the mohawk is at the upper ridge now. Upper ridge, right here. Put your hand flat, that's your upper ridge. So you know that. When you get to the vertex, you have to be careful not to keep coming up on the upper ridge. You've gone to the vertex. Now you start measuring back towards the center crown to that center area, right at the middle. So what's your clue? The area behind the ear, right there. Area behind the ear, right there. So then you've got it, and then you come straight up with it. All right? So that was another thing I wanted to cover with you today. We're going to work on the top. This one was already short, so we did it. We're going to work on the top. That's going to be phase 4 on the clipper cutting. And I've got some other mannequins that I'm going to be using as well for the varieties in clipper and what you can do with the top and in the clipper cut with it, the design for it. It's a variety, the pompadour that comes into the picture. So until next time, ladies and maybe gentlemen, remember this is a pandemic. We're having to video everything for you guys to get it. Watch as many of these videos as you can during your Christmas break. If you're still watching videos next spring into the, going into summer, watch as many as you can during the summer and practice as much as you can. When you guys usually leave me, we only destroy one mannequin, and you end up with 2 mannequins to take to the other classroom. So watch how you're cutting. Like I said, use your guards. Go longer, practice again, practice again, practice again. So it's up to you. Take care. God bless. Don't do a mohawk yet, by the way. Don't do a mohawk yet. You can. That's after we learn the top. All right, take care.